Inside Siskiyou. Real news, real people, real close.
Hello, Siskiyou County. This is Marilyne Shamansky, your community reporter for Mount Shasta. Hi, Mount Shasta. I'm at fifth season with Danielle, one of the owners, and we're talking this afternoon about Pacific Crest Trail hikers. Danielle, tell us about the numbers this year. Are you seeing a significantly less through hikers?
Most definitely. Quite a significant drop in numbers of through hikers coming through town, and I think even a drop in the number of hikers that were even allowed on the trail this year.
I was up on the trail not too long ago, and there were no PCTers at all on that one Saturday afternoon. So about how many people have come into your store that are actually through hikers?
We've probably had maybe 12 through hikers come through, and we in years past might have minimum 12 per day that would pass through the store.
This is one of the through campsites for the PCT, and it looks more like a graveyard. The last time I reported on Mount Shasta City, standing on Mount Shasta Boulevard, the streets were empty. It was March, just the beginning of the coronavirus. Now the street is packed on a Sunday afternoon with no place to park. On this fine Sunday afternoon, this is the parking lot at Hedge Creek Falls. No place to park. Another popular parking spot on Lake Siskiyou on this Sunday afternoon. Visitors parked all the way up the road, Castle Lake Road. My last shot for the day, Castle Lake parking. But it's 4:30 and a lot of people have already left.
Hi, this is Erin Newlin. I am with the town of Montague for the Siskiyou Media Council Public Television, and today I am meeting with the Siskiyou County Beekeepers Association. What is the organization you're representing and what it is about?
We are with the Siskiyou County Beekeepers Association today, and the association is a group of local beekeepers, mostly backyard hobbyists, but we do have some commercial operators whose intent is to promote beekeeping and education and to assist new beekeepers in being successful in their efforts.
Okay, and where are we today, Jerry?
Today we're at the Siskiyou County Fairgrounds. The fairgrounds have graciously allowed us this plot of land to plant our pollinator garden here.
I'm just going to scan around here. Keep talking.
And to install our memorial hives. These hives were erected in memory of one of our founding members and mentors, Mr. Al Hintz, who only wanted to be remembered for his dedication to bees.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, let's take a look over here. This is our vice president of our beekeeping club, and he's going to be getting into one of our hives, and we'll see what's inside there. And while he's doing that, we can go over the hive components, because everybody has seen beehives in fields, but not really knowing what they're looking at. Yeah. Each stack or tower is an individual hive, and they're composed of the bottom board. It contains an entrance. these two bottom boxes, which is going to be the hive home. This is where they live and where they raise their young, which we call the brood. And then the upper box is called a super. And this is for storage. This is where they're going to put their honey that we're going to be able to harvest, usually in late summer.
Wow.
It's capped off by a lid. Sometimes you'll see a heavy block on top to keep the lid on from blowing in the wind. But every stack is its own hive.
Very cool. And so what do you...
Sometimes these little engineers, honeybees, man, they can really glue these frames into these hive boxes to where it's quite an effort to get them out. I just had to use this little pry bar to break this first one loose so I could get it out and show it to you.
Okay.
And this is the honey super, the top smaller box.
And so is this where all the honey is produced, up on the top?
No,
Oh.
it's produced throughout.
Okay.
But from here down is basically going to be the bees' honey throughout the year to get them through the winter. And there's a queen extractor in between these that keeps the queen from coming up into the supers and laying eggs, so you can take this honey out for human consumption. But
Wow.
this part here, they could go real tall depending on how good of a honey flow we have. But this is pretty much for the people. This down here is for the bees.
Wow.
Everything above those bottom boxes is surplus, which is what we take from them after we ensure that they have enough honey to get through the winter.
And you can kind of elevate your camera maybe a little bit, and you see this queen excluder that keeps the queen down here in the bottom laying her eggs and producing her brood and producing more population of bees.
Okay.
She always stays down there below this queen excluder.
What is the jar down below?
That's a method of feeding them when we're in a little bit of what they call a dearth, where there's not a lot of honey to be, or
I
nectar
see.
to be
Oh,
gathered.
I see.
We're
Okay.
supplementing their food.
Okay. I'm going to step back here because they're getting a little active. But they seem to be very docile. They're certainly not attacking. Or they're kind of probably not too happy about that, huh? And how often did you say you collect the honey?
Once a year.
Once a year.
We usually do that in the fall, after we're assured that they have their winter
Okay.
supplies.
It's just a barrier to keep the queen separated from
Oh, very
the
nice.
upper level.
The workers can fit through that barrier, but the queen is big enough that she can't get through.
Oh, so that's how you keep the queen in there. I was wondering how that works. And about how much honey do you get from one hive?
That's a great question. It depends upon your location, and every year is a little different. I average between my 4 hives 5 to 6 gallons per hive.
5 to 6 gallons. Wow, that's a lot of honey.
Here's basically what you start with at the store. Foundation. You buy this frame, and that's where the bees all get their start. They're pre-manufactured in the shape of a comb, so that kind of sets the pattern. And you can see that they've actually
They're
started
just
drawing
starting
out
it.
a little bit right
Wow,
there.
that's so amazing.
That's what the bees did.
Okay.
That's what some manufacturer did.
Okay.
Drawn comb, they've drawn it out beautifully, and they've got it largely filled up with nectar, which later on they'll fan the moisture out of the nectar
Oh my gosh.
and turn it into honey and cap it.
Oh my gosh.
And there's not nearly as far along on this side,
Okay.
but that's usually the rule. The further out you get toward the outer limits of the hive box, it's less developed. They
Okay.
pretty much develop traditionally from the center out.
Wow. Very cool. Thank you so much. Do any educational outreach?
Yes, we do. Every year here at the Siskiyou County Fair, the club sponsors a booth, and it's staffed by club members who provide education and information. And inside we have a working hive that people can, an observation hive that people can see. And next year we hope to incorporate our memorial hives in that discussion. In addition, we have club members that will go out to local schools and provide education and information to the kids. The kids love it, they get it.
Yeah, I'll bet. So what's the first step for someone to take who's interested in becoming a beekeeper?
The first step is to get a little information beforehand. It's important to get a little bit of knowledge before diving in. The easiest way to do that is to join a local beekeepers club. There you'll get information on proper protective equipment, the different hive styles and equipment that you'll need, and as well as getting information about regional beekeeping practices, because they do differ from region to region. Okay. In addition, clubs like ours often have a mentoring program to pair seasoned beekeepers up with new beekeepers to share information and get that new beekeeper being successful.
Right, we've moved over in the shade. The bees were getting a little excited. I have a couple more questions. Why is it so important to promote beekeeping?
Well, I think most people understand that bees are facing a lot of challenges right now. A third to half of hives fail over the year. They face a lot of threats from pesticides, fungicides, and a whole host of diseases that are carried by an infectious mite, appropriately named the Varroa destructor mite. And when you combine that with the fact that over a third of our food production pollination is carried out by bees, you understand that the bees' survival is directly related to our survival.
Okay. Is there anything that the average person can do to help the bees, even if they don't want to become a beekeeper?
Absolutely, yes. You can avoid using pesticides and fungicides, use home remedies to take care of pests. And if you do have to use those products, it's important not to spray them on plants that are flowering currently.
Okay.
And you can also plant a lot of flowers and shrubs that produce pollen or nectar for the bees to use.
And I'd like to introduce Teresa Beatty. Teresa, what are some typical plants that anyone can plant to help the bees?
Well, if we are planting a pollinator garden over where our bees are, we obtained plants from the Siskiyou Arboretum, native Siskiyou plants, and those are now included in some of our beds, perennials, as well as annuals that reseed themselves. Then there's the common bedding plants that we use in our gardens at home, like the salvias, sunflowers, bee balm. I love bee balm, and different mints. We normally don't think of mints, spearmint, peppermint, and there are native mints also as being something that would benefit pollinators, but when they flower, the bees just flock to it. Sage, as well as lavender.
Wow.
So we have penstemon. We've got a couple different kinds of milkweed started in our garden.
Wow.
Some asters. We do have, one of my favorites is borage, and that will reseed itself.
Oh, nice.
And make heavy nectar producer.
Oh,
the
wow.
bees love it.
Wow.
So we've just started this garden, and next year these perennials will come back and be fuller and more productive. June of 2021, we are going to host a pollinator garden contest. And of course, the reward will be honey.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to start in the Yreka area.
Perfect.
And so we're looking forward to that. And this garden will be the start of it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
you.
Having us out today. This is so interesting. How can the average person join the Beekeepers Association if you're interested in becoming a beekeeper?
That's a great question. You can find us on Facebook at Siskiyou County Beekeepers Association.
Okay.
We have an email at siskiyoubeekeepers@gmail.com. And we have monthly meetings on the first Tuesday of every month at the County Ag Department at 525 South Foothill Drive in Yreka.
Is beekeeping really hard? Is it like a full-time, or can it be something that your average person can do that goes to work every day?
average person can do this. It does take a
Really?
little time, a few hours per week,
Okay.
and you'll have honey to reward yourself in the fall.
Wouldn't that be fantastic? Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming.
Let's see, I guess I will introduce myself. I'm Bett Peterson. I'm the community reporter for Hornbrook, and this report is for the Siskiyou Media Council. And today I'm with Jackie Nushi from the United Way, who's going to tell us a little bit about the Listos project. And can you describe a little bit of Listos emergency preparedness?
Sure. So Listos, basically the question is are you ready? Listos means ready in Spanish, but it's basically ready California for all. So everyone in California, are you ready for disasters? Have you prepared yourself properly? The state OES, United Way of California, is bringing this message to Siskiyou County because so many people are losing their lives, their pets, and their neighbors to fires. The Listos campaign itself is really quick. It's an easy guide, tips, and training for all of Siskiyou County. While many of us are preparing our homes, by hardening them and clearing around them, which is really important, many of us need to also prepare ourselves, our pets, and our neighbors to be able to evacuate or stay in place, shelter in place, because of a public health emergency or disaster as well, such as COVID-19. So it's all equally important to be prepared for fires and all these disasters. But I think it's really important that we as people in these communities, especially in the vulnerable portions, that they are able to take care of themselves. Because yes, we know that the fire department's coming to put the fire out, and the sheriff's department is coming to tell us to get out, but are we doing our part to make their jobs easier? So that's what Listos, California for All, and that's why a lot of what I've been doing on Facebook, I always started off with, are you ready?
Okay. And can you tell me a little about this disaster guide that you have
Certainly.
here?
So we created a disaster guide. It's called Disaster Ready Guide. It's a big fold out, and it takes you through steps of what you need to do to be ready, and actually gives you opportunities to write in information. So the first part of being ready is to connect and protect. So what you need to be able to do is have people on the outside of Siskiyou County that you can connect to, because sometimes when there's a fire, everything goes down. Cell goes down, phones go down, contact goes down. And so it's important to have somebody on the outside to connect to say, hey, I'm okay, can you tell me what's happening here? It also gives you a place to put people down that you may not remember when everything's happening. So the next one is evacuation action. So that would be number 2. We've all talked about how we should know, what roads to evacuate on. But I have a question, and that is, have you driven those roads? Have you made sure those roads go through? Have those roads changed over the years? What's it like in the winter? So it's important that not only do you know where you're going, but also drive where you're going. So the next step is a grab and go, which is your go bag, and your stay box is number 4. This is for sheltering in place, like COVID-19. And this gives you ideas of what you would put in your go bag. There's many types of go bags. There's pet go bags, there's work go bags, there's car go bags. We try to start it off simple and easy. And then step number 5 is safety tips. This actually gives you before the disaster and during the disaster of the things that you should be doing. And then number 6 gives you plan ahead and get ready. So it's basic tips for, let me flip this over, basic tips for different situations on what you should be doing. Oh, and 7 is basically a way to work on this project of preparedness step by step with a safety calendar. So it might, some might think it's difficult to try to put this all together, but actually it's pretty easy. But if you have difficulty sometimes putting it on a calendar and saying, this week I'm going to do my go bag, next week I'm going to do this. So that's basically what the disaster guide is all about.
Okay, now, can you tell us about how we can sign up for Code Red?
The best way for you to go to Code Red is to go to the county website, Siskiyou County website. And if it's not right there at the front, what you could do is in the search engine, put Code Red. And you go right there. And the reason why I direct you to the county website is because I know for a fact that you will get on the Code Red list. I think sometimes people use the apps and it doesn't quite work as well. So definitely go to the Siskiyou County website, type in Code Red, and it'll take you right to it. You just put all your information. Okay. So, and remember when there is a Code Red, they do that based on where the disaster is, and they use certain map coordinates and that sort of thing. So you might be just outside of the evac zone and may not get a Code Red, and that's because they're actually looking at a map and saying, okay, we need to alert these sets of people only. So.
Now, you said something about a go bag. Do you need only one go bag and stay box?
Well, it all depends on how many people you have in the family. It all depends on how much you want to prepare. Your initial go bag, which we have examples of what should be in it in the disaster guide. A lot of people put that together and put it right next to their door, so that when you get the knock or you get the Code Red, you don't have to think. You just grab the bag and go. But you might want to make a go bag for work, because you may not be at home whenever there's an evacuation. You might want to make a go bag that sits next to your bed. If you have children definitely should have their own go bags, because when it's tough and it's scary, you want to make sure that they have what's in there that's going to keep them calm and settled. And the same thing goes for dogs. Rescue Ranch is putting on several trainings on how to prepare your pet. In fact, they created this really amazing poster that you put outside your property.
Can you turn it a little bit closer?
Sure. You put it out at your property, and you basically let the first responders know what animals you have on there, okay? And you can even write the animals' names. Let's say, your favorite cow is Bessie. So you'd say, I have one cow and her name is Bessie. So that the emergency responders, if they see Betsy, they can go in there and attempt to get Betsy out with the rescues. So they have that going on. So the reason why we are directing a lot of our attention to pets and preparedness is that many people, when stressed, will not go anywhere without their cat. Or where is their dog? If their dog's been frightened, has it scattered off? So what we're trying to do is make the community aware that when you hear of a disaster, such as the Badger Fire, those around the Badger Fire, if we could get this information, or if the information had gotten to these people, they might have been thinking, okay, I need to prepare the dog. Let's get the dog in the house. Let's find the cats now. Let's make sure that, we can get them in the crates. Interesting enough, one of the trainings at Rescue Ranch is how fast can you get your dog in a crate. So she teaches people the things to do to be able to get to that. So, and then the stay box, again, I would say at least 3 to 5 days of food, water. Again, we give you examples of what you should need there. How would you use that? Well, COVID-19 is a perfectly good example. If you have a stay box and you get stuck and you can't get out, maybe there's some food in there that's going to get you through the next couple of days until you can get to a store or get some help with that. So, and a stay box can be used if you have a disaster such as a train wreck where there's gases that have been released and you stay at home and that sort of thing. So it's just as equally important.
Now, why are we responsible for our neighbors?
Well, think about that. If you're all prepared and you've never once gone to your neighbor and said, are you prepared? What is your plan? What, can we work together? You're suddenly now in the middle of a disaster, and you realize that your neighbor is an elderly person, and now you have to stop because you care. And you now have to, instead of evacuating yourself, because you don't know what that neighbor's going through, you don't know if they need help. But if you prepare and work together with your neighbors, all of your neighbors, as far out as you can go, and work together as a team to know, okay, this is what I'm going to do, this is what you're going to do, this is what is important to me, I need to make sure I take this. Or you know that they are going to struggle with their wheelchair or anything like that. And then also, if you're working with your neighbors and you find that your neighbor isn't hardening their home, you know, again, that's another emergency preparedness thing. Maybe you could get together and help them get their home hardened, and then also help them get their go box and their go bag and their stay box in place. So this is a community thing. This is something that everyone in Siskiyou County should be working towards. So we cannot rely on county OES, the fire department, the police department. They have way too much to do as it is just trying to handle the disaster. It's our responsibility to also handle that disaster by handling ourselves.
All right, well, so I know COVID-19 made it difficult for you to do trainings. Do you have suggestions to receive the trainings in other ways?
I do. Actually, I'm working with state OES. We just implemented a text training, so you can sign up. I don't have the information on that yet, but trust me, I will get it out to you. It's basically a 7 text, 7 days. You choose the time. The text message pops up. It gives you a little bit of training, and then it asks you a question. You respond to the question, and then after 7 days, you're basically prepared. So now, the point right there is what I want to make. It doesn't take hardly anything to be prepared. Changing your mindset, realizing that you are vulnerable, and the question I have for your community is, what are your vulnerabilities? Do you know what they are, and can you identify them, and then can you work on them so that you are ready and not depending on others? The other type of program that we're about to launch is a online training, about 15 minutes long, super easy. And then also, if you want more information on different types of training, I'll be happy to come out and do a training for you. Should last 15 minutes, maybe a half hour, and be able to share with your community. I can also do online, Facebook Live. There's all kinds of ways, because this message is so simple. It's so easy that we can always find a way to reach out to our community members.
Great. Well, I'm glad you were able to take some time to talk to me a little bit. How can people contact you to get more information?
You can contact me through my email, which is jnushi@norcalunitedway.org. And then you can also call me at 530-604-2860. You can also look for me on Facebook. I do a lot of postings there on Listos, on the different steps, the 5 tips, all kinds of information for you.
And I know Jackie's been posting with the Hornbrook Community Association. You've been doing postings there, and United Way has been very helpful with the Hornbrook Community Association. Been working on a Hornbrook mutual aid network that United Way has been supporting for bringing emergency food to people, and just very good relationship. Very glad that you came into our community. Jackie lives here in Hornbrook.
Yes, I do.
So we're
I love it.
very fortunate that she's here, and she's supporting this emergency preparedness endeavor through the United Way. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Hey, this is John Michael, reporter for the Yreka community for Siskiyou Media Council. So we're here at the Siskiyou Community Food Bank. They just got a delivery in today. And let us start. I have asked our lovely person in charge here to answer some questions I gave her. And now the floor is hers.
Hello, my name is Laura Leach. I am the Executive Director of Siskiyou Community Food Bank. Siskiyou Community Food Bank was started in June of 2013 by Willis Thompson and Cliff Kettle. They were They are farmers, and we're in the board on the Yreka Community Certified Farmers Market Board, and they, farmers like to feed people. So I had been helping as well and suggested that we take donations to the local senior center. And so that's how Siskiyou Community Food Bank was started. And so we've been growing ever since. We on average help about 250 households per month. So we have a lot of single person households, but we have a lot of families too. So in 2019, we served 2,719 family members in households. So almost getting up to the 3,000 range. I have great, wonderful volunteers who come in on a regular basis and help to do cleaning and package bags up for distribution and whatever we need to have done here. Everybody pitches in and helps. So we're very fortunate to have a good group of volunteers. And Siskiyou Community Food Bank serves anybody that meets the low income federal poverty level based on Health and Human Services and is a resident of Siskiyou County. So those are the only requirements. We do have an application that has to be completed and do request information like residency, income, date of birth, social security numbers, and some other information like education levels. So I can tell you in 2019, we distributed 97,958 pounds of food to Siskiyou County residents. COVID had an impact in the very beginning. We had an increase in clients, customers coming in and needing food, and it's a whole new group of people we'd never seen before. Because they were employed full time and were able to be self-sufficient. COVID has affected numerous households in our county, and so we are feeding more. However, we did see a drop in our seniors participating to come in. Seniors are very good at staying in and following the government and public health guidelines. So we started calling all of them and delivering food to them.
Okay, so another question is, with the fact that all of the COVID-19 stuff has been going on and the Siskiyou County Fair has officially been canceled, how will that impact one of your bigger fundraisers of the year, since you guys have had a booth and we're going to have a booth this year?
Yes, we were. We were expecting that to be a huge fundraiser for us this year. Obviously not going to happen.
Could you tell us an idea of the amount of monetary money you would have earned from that you have lost?
Several $1,000s. So that's definitely a sting in the pocketbook. And we have had generous Siskiyou County residents donate to us as well. In fact, with some of the money, we started a fresh fruit and vegetable program where we give them vouchers to go to 2 of our local stores, Grocery Outlet and Rayleigh's, where they could spend $10 to pick out their own fresh fruits and vegetables. So that's been very successful, and our customers really love the food, the fact they can pick out what they want too. And very appreciative of that program. So thank you to all of our donors as well.
Okay. Thank you very much, Miss Leach. And now we are at the Yreka Food Bank, which is in a shared compound in the old Gold Street Elementary School. We share this area with a church and the Siskiyou Opportunity Center at the moment. Now let's go inside.
My name is Denise Patterson. I am the Executive Director at the Yreka Food Bank here on Gold Street. We've been at this location about 10 to 11 years. I'm not sure the exact date, but we started out over 40 years ago serving this community. It started with a couple at one of the local churches here and just grew into the only food bank here in town for quite some time. And we have moved from the old hospital to the juvenile hall and out of this location, and hopefully we'll be here for quite a while. We service anywhere between 200 and 400 families a month. It just depends on the time of year, circumstances, and new people coming through town. I'd say overall, in the length of time this food bank's been open, there's been, I know we've served several thousand families. It's always changing, and we never turn down anyone. We are a strictly donation-only food bank at this time. We do not work off of donations or any government funding, so we do not have to comply with the guidelines that are given out for money, for income levels. We, like I said, try to help everyone. Areas we don't serve, if they come in, we'll serve them once and then direct them where they can go from there. Our volunteers here are small. The amount, because we're a small place and we can't house too many ones, but we have 3, including myself, that are here all the time, and we have several others that are on the list of people willing to help. We have people come in and out all the time that are willing to help, and it's great. We get our donations through private donations, organizations, churches, and we get a great bit of response from the community garden during the growing season. This year is going to be a little tougher because we've lost one of our biggest food drives, which is the post office, due to the COVID-19. We have 2 other large ones that are usually in September and December, which we are not sure about because one is through a school and one is through a community Christmas concert that we don't know if they will be able to have or not. But we're doing well, and the communities are just rallying. We service Yreka and the surrounding communities, including Grenada, rural Montague, and
Hornbrook.
COVID-19 has had an impact on us per se because we've had to close the food bank, except at the door. We register at the door, we bring the food to the door. We have less people sometimes because of all the stimulus money and extra food stamps, but we still have an ongoing new grouping of people all the time. We will try to expand, we try to help everybody. And like I said, we've been serving this community for 40 years, and we'll continue to do so in the best way that we can.
Hi, I'm Shareen Strauss, McCloud reporter. I'm standing in front of the Axe and Rose on Main Street in McCloud. And as you can see, there's many people out and about. All the restaurants in town are open and they are abiding the COVID guidelines, keeping social distancing with eating outdoors. We have 7 restaurants in town that are keeping the tourists happy.
Hi, this is Marianne at Axe and Rose in McCloud. We're at 424 Main Street on the corner of Main and Columbaro. We're open with lots of outdoor dining Tuesday through Sunday from 5 to 9. We have plenty of space for social distancing and plenty of tables. Hope to see you soon.
Hey everybody, I'm Quentin Zahara and this is Siskiyou Brew Works. We're just here to let you know our beer garden here is open to the public for COVID reasons, and we are following all protocols for COVID. So come on down and enjoy. Cheers.
I'm standing in front of the Meat Market Tavern, and as you can see, they are open and they're busy. They're accommodating our tourist season by having outdoor open seating.